Learning English.
Imagine walking up to a store counter, clutching a bag, holding an item you kind of regret buying.
Yeah, you feel that low-key anxiety building as you approach the register, hoping the cashier is in a good mood.
Exactly. So you run through your lines in your head.
But what if you just had the perfect natural English ready to go?
Today, we conquer the art of the return. Welcome back to Radio Aikiwa. Quick recap by Noelia. Lesson 79. Scenario, returning an item.
Our mission today is equipping you with polite natural phrases to smoothly handle any return. The core insight is that offering clear reasons and payment details up front removes friction, making the entire process incredibly painless.
Here's the key sentence. I'd like to return this jacket.
One more time. I'd like to return this jacket.
This phrasing feels, incredibly standard, but I have to ask why we default to I'd like to instead of just saying I want to return this.
Well, it really comes down to the psychology of requests. I want to states a demand which can immediately put the cashier on the defensive.
Right, like you're bossing them around.
Exactly. When you use I'd like to, you soften the request into a preference, creating a much more collaborative tone.
So it's essentially the verbal difference between tossing an item aggressively onto the counter versus sliding it over gently.
That is a perfect way to look at it, yeah. You are communicating the exact same goal, but you just aren't escalating the tension.
Cashiers deal with frustrated customers all day long, so when you open with softer language, they usually relax right away.
It really does set the stage for how the rest of the interaction will unfold.
Here's the first phrase. Was it cash or card?
By card.
One more time. Was it cash or card?
By card.
This is where I get into the technical logistics, but the grammar here always trips me up. Why do we say by card instead of with a card?
So the preposition by functions here to indicate a system or a mechanism. You aren't just handing over a piece of plastic,
Right. You are utilizing the credit card network to process a transaction. So it basically operates on the same logic as saying you're traveling by train or by bus because you're using a transit system.
That's the exact mechanism at play in English grammar, yeah. But notice what happens when the payment is physical money.
We shift completely and say, in cash.
Yeah, and that is because cash isn't a system. It is the physical state or form that the actual money is in.
Here's another. I tried it on at home, and it doesn't fit. The sleeves are way too long.
One more time. I tried it on at home, and it doesn't fit. The sleeves are way too long.
This addresses the actual reason for the return, which kind of shifts us away from logistics and into justification.
Yeah, and I noticed the customer didn't just say the sleeves are very long, they used way too long.
Right. Why? Way instead of very.
Well, replacing very with way is a crucial nuance for conversational English. Very states a flat fact, but way acts as an informal intensifier that signals a subjective problem.
It feels like it adds a bit of mild frustration to the sentence, doesn't it?
It does, and that mild frustration actually helps validate why you are bringing the item back.
Exactly, because it tells the cashier that the fit wasn't just a little off, it was entirely unworkable.
Right, you're proactively answering their mandatory questions before they even have to ask.
Here's today's scene. A customer is returning curtains they bought last week. They're hoping the exchange is hassle-free because the color just looked wrong in their home lighting.
There they go.
Hi, I picked up these curtains last week, but I'd like to return them if that's okay.
Sure, that's no problem. Mind if I ask what didn't work out?
Honestly, once I got them up, they weren't quite what I pictured. I changed my mind about the color. It's a little brighter than I wanted.
Yeah, the light at home can really throw the color off. I get that one a lot, actually.
This interaction is fascinating because both people are working hard to de-escalate any potential awkwardness.
Yeah, like how the customer starts by saying they picked up the curtains rather than bought them.
Right. Using that phrasal verb makes the initial purchase sound like a casual errand, which keeps the stakes of the return very low.
But the really interesting part is how the cashier responds.
What is the psychology behind saying the lighting can throw the color off?
Oh, it is a deliberate de-escalation tactic.
So instead of saying you picked the wrong color, the cashier is basically blaming the environment to remove any fault from the customer.
Exactly, which makes the customer feel completely validated, turning a potentially tense return into a friendly chat.
Noelia has prepared 20 practical phrases for this lesson. Make sure you review the pattern practice and original dialogue sections.
Going over these actively builds your real-world conversational muscle memory so you don't freeze up at the register.
To find all of that, The link is in the description. Next time you're at a store, take a moment to look around at the other customers.
Yeah, pay attention to the body language of people who say, I want to, versus I'd like to. You might notice that the softer language physically changes how both the customer and the cashier stand and interact. Try observing it yourself and see what happens.
Catch you in the next one.